All right, everybody, how you doing here? Scotty will be along in just a second as I get us going here tonight. We're going to only do this about 20, 25 minutes. We won't keep the big man too long as he did radio tonight. Not the opening we wanted for the Denver Nuggets. Great night for your Colorado Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche are finally getting their feet underneath them. So maybe I don't want the Nuggets to have to lose, four to start the year, but if they can maybe get their thing going, that would be good. The way the Avs did, because the Avs are now back to 500. And look, that may be a Utah team. Now, it's not the exact Coyote team that they've been facing in years past, but the Coyotes gave them trouble last year, so good for them. To get off the schneid with that. What's up, bittersweets? But anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. The Nuggets, that was not what we were hoping for. That was not the game I think we thought we were going to get. I thought it'd be a little closer, although I don't know. Bad matchup. Right now, the Thunder are proving to be a bad matchup for the Nuggets, which is really too bad. They've got the size. Chet Holmgren went off tonight. Hartenstein didn't even play tonight. So that's part of the reason why this is a little bit, you know, disappointing, I'll say the least. Again, Scotty will be along in a second, guys, but he's walking to his car. We were having a couple of problems there, so hopefully he'll be able to get that solved and he'll be with us in just a second. But yeah, I don't know. I see the comment about Westbrook or Washbrook. Nate warned you there were going to be nights where his shooting was going to drive you nuts, and this may be a little bit of it tonight. But look, man, and it was an interesting night for me because I was at the bar, trying to watch the Avs game, trying to watch the Nuggets game, and I have to go back and watch both on replay. Thursday nights are my bar nights, but we still want to be able to do these post game shows, and so, yeah, gosh, rough one. I don't want to freak out because it's the first game of the season, but at the same time, as you all well know, this is pretty frustrating. The Nuggets have gotten their butts kicked at home by Oklahoma City 4 straight times now, and hasn't really been as close as you'd like it to be. They are proving to be as bad a matchup, if not a worse matchup, than Minnesota is for the Nuggets sometimes. So you don't like that. Oklahoma City added to their roster. What's crazy about it, I'm watching a little of the post game interview, and they're talking about how they don't even have all their guys yet. Like Hartenstein's not even playing. I think I heard he won't even be there till mid-November. But they've got some depth. They can roll it and throw it at the Nuggets. And Nuggets, again, the shooting. Every time I talk to Scotty this off season, he kept saying to me, the shooting's going to determine some stuff. And this first one was not great. I'm seeing some of the comments. I'll go ahead. There's no doubt about it. Zate says, hey, he has to take the next step. MPJ is so hit or miss. There's no doubt about it. Marie, the bench was horrible. Yeah, it can't continue to be that way. It's wild. Now, Michael Malone did tell us that he thought the guys didn't have the best of preseasons. And, I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to cut him some slack because they're a veteran group. But Sanford, if you're up, I'm going to send Sanford an interview, a little invite too. And you can have Sanford jump in here for a bit too, Coach. I'm just going to go ahead and email that to you while we wait for Scotty, who's trying to get into the car. And then that way, that way when he gets on, Coach, text me your email. I apparently don't have it on file to let you join in. So text me your email, Coach, and we'll get you in here too as we wait for Scotty. Again, Scotty was having some trouble, couldn't see or hear us. It's the first time that's happened. So anywho, yeah, I don't know, guys. It's just not, you don't want to freak out at beginnings. You got some new guys starting to play together. Some of this look like the old Nuggets, but the problem is, again, you get yourself, you get yourself in some trouble there where this has been a little too much what we've seen in the past, I don't know. I don't try to do two things at once here, guys. And I'm sorry I wanted to jump on so we could get to you after the game, but maybe that's going to prove to be I should have just held on a second. There it is. I'll get Coach in here, and Coach can get his invite, and we'll talk to Coach too. But I'm curious to hear what Scotty's going to say. They did radio tonight, not TV. And they flat out said it that this is going to be a little bit more than maybe what we bargained for with the OKC Thunder. They were almost weren't they the number one seed last year? They ended up with the number one seed, as I'm trying to remember it all. It got so weird down the stretch with what Minnesota and Denver did to kind of take themselves out of it. But my gosh, man, that it's just not the first effort that you wanted out of these guys. I don't, again, here's Scotty. So our boy Scotty. Scotty, I'm going to throw you on in there. Can you hear us all right, Scott?
I had to go outside because the Wi-Fi wasn't strong enough to pick you up.
Well, Coach Sanford's still up, so I'm going to let him jump in with us too here whenever he gets in. But all right, hey man, what'd you see? What'd you think?
Well, it's a little bit like the Avs. That first game, you can't get too excited. Things could turn around. But if I were to be honest, in my first game reaction, they're not in condition. They really don't have any shooters. I was talking to somebody after the game, and they said they got to play more inside. They were shooting too many threes, and if you're not making them, I mean, how many's too many when you're not making them? That's the first point. They shot 18% or something like that, and you can go back the last 2 years. Whenever they shot horribly from the three, they seem to always lose anyway. But Oklahoma City's defense is pretty good, and they played them not to be shooters. They went under all the pick and rolls, which no one does in the NBA anymore. They went under all the pick and rolls, so they didn't have to switch very much because they didn't care if you shot. They were going to make you prove you can make shots consistently, and Denver couldn't make shots consistently. And I left the stat box upstairs, but your two best shooters with starters were like, I don't know, 5 or 7 of 25 or something like that, if that good. 3 of 13 from 3. So yeah, they're not a good shooting of the basketball team overall, especially if they're not getting in the paint. And like I said, Oklahoma City played them not to get into the paint. Anytime the ball went in, there was a minimum 3 bodies, because you know why? They didn't care if you kicked out and shot a 3. Wasn't going to hurt you. Hurt them 5 times or whatever it was. So they got to fix that. If you don't shoot any better in this league and the way they play right now, you're in trouble.
We welcome in Coach Sanford. Coach, love to see that you're still up, because I was wondering. Scotty, look, man, you had told us that you were worried about the shooting a little bit. Therefore, were you surprised by what we saw? I mean, look, I told everybody, you know what my night was. I was at the bar until about 7:30 at halftime, where I do the drawing every Thursday. Tonight it was at Stoney's. I was listening to the Avs game on my way home, got back by about 8:15. You guys got going, turned the TV on, was trying to keep track of everything, was able to watch basically the second half. I didn't see a lot of great shooting in the time that I was able to watch. I saw the Oklahoma City defense bothering them the same way that it did a year ago. Do we just put this up to a bad matchup too, Scotty, or where are you at with? I mean, were you again when you warned us bad shooting could be a problem, and all of a sudden we get it? Does that start to set the alarm off, even though it's only game one?
Listen, Oklahoma City won the Western Conference last year, so I mean,
right.
No one should be surprised completely that they're a good team. What they have that Denver doesn't have. What they have is probably 5 or 6 guys, 4 to 5 guys, maybe 6 that are legit threats from 3-point, and probably another 4 or 5 guys that have the ability to break defenses down and get to the basket. Who are those players for Denver? So when you say bad matchup, yeah, if you want to get and pound and get into a half-court game, and I give their coach a lot of credit, because I'm telling you, if you go back and watch this film, and Coach Sanford will tell you right there, you can play. You try to take away the strengths of another team, and Denver's strength is getting into the paint and hurting you. And they said, okay, we ain't gonna let that beat us from 3. And listen, that game was a whole lot like some of those games against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Shoot threes and you can't make it, so we're going to beat you. And listen, it's game one, but the big question will be asked if this were to continue. Now, this is the fourth straight time. I don't know if you knew this. Fourth straight time Oklahoma City's beat Denver in Denver. So this isn't the first time. So matchup question could be a fair question. But if you can't shoot, and I honestly, Denver didn't do anything to answer the shooting question in the offseason.
Coach, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, Christian Braun was a positive. I thought he played. Yep. He was the best player on the court. I mean, obviously Nikola Jokic had another pedestrian triple double, which is hilarious to even say that, right, Scotty? But he turned the ball over a little bit careless with basketball. That Christian Braun played smart basketball. Played to his strengths, which is as a slasher, got his hands on balls, loose balls on the defensive side. Scotty
rebounded well.
Yeah, rebounded well. Scotty, my question, so like Jamal Murray, like the first, 7 minutes of the ball game, looked like he was into it. And then he just disappeared.
Well, Denver, again, and this could go to conditioning also, and you could talk about this on the football side. There's a whole lot of teams that look good in that first quarter, and then conditioning catches up with you, and you forget you got to play the second, third, and fourth. They were up 19-10. The starters were doing their job, and they were taking them right to Oklahoma City. Things are looking good. Oklahoma City had to call the first time out of the game, and then they went on a 26-2 or 4 or 6 run to end that first quarter and end up taking a lead and never look back. That was a well-coached team that formed the game plan. They have Denver figured out what they do, and Denver's got to listen, they're going to see this team in about 2 weeks again here, I think. So what kind of adjustments are you going to make? That's going to be a big question.
What can you make? I mean, and sorry, you can see my pugs being a bigger shit than anything we watched tonight. Here's the thing. Like you said, 4 in a row. Oklahoma's got the size to keep coming at you. I will tell you, Oklahoma was a team last year I didn't want them to see in the playoffs. And quite honestly, after what Oklahoma added as far as depth, they said it at the end of the TNT broadcast. Denver does not have the same depth that Oklahoma City does because Oklahoma City hasn't had to go pay all their guys just yet, right? Denver's had to pay their guys. Now they're trying to manage the cap thing. And you look at the difference between freedom of payroll and not having freedom of payroll. So,
But
what can they adjust?
But don't you guys both think that when you have to pay guys and the guys that got paid deserve it, you know what that puts more pressure on the front office. You can't miss.
Right.
You can't miss on guys. You can't have a first round pick tear his Achilles in the first round or in the first playoff or summer league.
Scotty, we lost you. You with me? Everybody with me?
Got muted.
Yeah.
Here you go.
The warden's calling me.
Oh, there you go.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, the warden's
we got you.
me.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you go ahead and pick up the call, get on the road. I don't want to keep you up much later. I know you got to travel this weekend. Mike and I will break down a little bit of the hockey game, I guess, and then we'll call it a night. You and I said we were going to do this quick. I'm excited to get your thoughts because, it's not a panic game, right? But don't love it.
No.
Don't love that to be the first one.
But and I'll ask Coach this too. I'm telling you, sports are all the same. The few X's and O's change. Guys in every sports, coaches say, "Hey, you ain't in shape. You ain't in shape," and guys go, "Oh, yes, I am." Yes. And sometimes it takes a game like this, and then you break down the film and go, "Well, if you're in shape, why didn't you take that extra 2 steps to cut that pass off? If you're in shape, why are you standing and watching as the ball bounces over your head? If you're in shape, why when the ball went overthrown to the backcourt that one time, everybody in the white just stood there and watched. Shea Gill just ran it down, got it, and you got an easy basket on the other end. That to me is lazy, one. But I tell you what, Coach, and see if you agree or not, I've seen a whole lot of lazy because of conditioning at times too.
Yeah, it's Scotty, like even just coming from the football paradigm, I just don't, and my brain doesn't understand how you have an off season and you have a preseason training camp and you're still out of shape. Like, I've been bad. I've had teams that were bad, but I mean, I know it's professional sports, but damn, they're like, this is the opening night of the season.
Well,
nobody
here-
on this roster
here-
not named Peyton Watson everybody was available for the preseason. I just don't understand how's there an excuse to be out of shape?
Well, there's never an excuse, to be honest with you. You know that, but I'll make one. The NBA puts you on a week-long vacation, so you get 2 days of practice. You fly 17 hours there to Abu Dhabi,
Yeah, that's dumb.
17
I
hours
agree.
back, and then you have 5 days of just running little kids camps and visiting sites. So there's no conditioning going on there. And then you come back and then you have a couple days. So you got to probably have a day you don't do anything at all when you get back. So that's 2 straight days. And then you're kind of, yeah, listen, I say this with confidence that they're not in shape because I talked to a Nuggets official, somebody with the team before the game, and they confirmed that to me.
Gosh, but Boston's in shape, same parameters, right? I don't know, man.
Not good, Bob. Not good. Not the way you wanted to start, and it showed up tonight. I mean, again, it's look, dude, it's early. It is the first game. I just don't like you letting the same team that won the West, as you said, kind of come in here and kick your tail in your own house. That's just not how you want to get it going, but that's how it went.
Listen, do you guys both believe this? I think you played them November 7th or something like that back here. So that's only 10, 12 days, right?
Yep.
Let's judge that game.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's judge that game from tonight to when they come back November 7th. What have you learned, and B, what have you done as far as bringing a little urgency? There was no urgency tonight either, and I know there's 81 more games, but there's no need to panic. But
no, it's not panic. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick, okay? Seriously, don't you want to see a little, hey, bleep you? After you ain't coming. I mean, again, they've whooped your butt a couple of times. When are you going to say, hey, you ain't whipping our butt this year? This is different. I'm not freaking out because it's more about the fact that you didn't answer these dudes. Don't let them feel so good against you.
And you're just preaching to the choir, brother.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
The coach in me is telling me the bleep you should have been in the time that you got eliminated in game 7 on your home floor until today. That's when the bleep you should have been applied. That's what I see.
Yep. Do not disagree with any of that. But like I said, it's a long season, 82 games.
I know. It is different than football, man. Like college football, you get 12
80 straight games.
Yeah, college football, you got 12 games, man. You got to make them count. If you're not in shape in game 1, you ain't playing yourself into shape. It's a different world.
It is a different world. The disappointing thing, though, is opening night, first game of the year, a team that you're going to have to compete with in the Western Conference, and I didn't feel they had the gas. Listen, I thought Oklahoma City played hard.
Yeah,
they played physical, and Denver sat back and played together, and they know what they want to do. They want to penetrate and kick. They either want to get a layup or they want to shoot a 3, and Denver allowed them to do that. But then again, how many guys you got going to stand? Is Michael Porter going to stand in front of somebody and keep him from driving to the basket? Jamal Murray? Is Nikola Jokic really?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody can say they really. I mean, you guys say Christian Brown. The part I saw Christian was a little bit sloppy, but I did not see the whole game because I was trying to keep track of 3 things at once. I'll watch all of them in full before I hit the air tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll take your word that Christian Brown had a good game. The rest of them, I don't think anybody can really say, hey, I had a great. He'd like to.
Here's the only thing Christian Brown struggled with, because he had a career high tonight in points. And coach is right. He was slashing, cutting, filling the lanes, doing how he needs to play, how you and I talked about last week. He's going to be fine doing that. Problem is, start the game, kick out wide open three, turn it down. Reverse it, get kicked out to him, wide open three, turn it down. Third time, he bricked it. Next time he shot it, bricked it. And after that, he wasn't even going to sniff a three. I mean, he turned it down. And listen, no one made threes tonight, so this is not on Christian, because Christian, I thought, played fabulous. But if you're being real honest, go back, you go watch, and we'll talk tomorrow. He turned down shots, and KCP wouldn't have done that.
Well, and you can't have it. You just can't have it, because he did that during the playoffs during the Laker run, and they can't go back to that. You're the starter now.
Scotty, my take on Russell Westbrook, I know, he's getting shamed nationally because he's a true superstar, and he airballed a three-pointer. It looked terrible. He kept shooting. He shot terribly. I actually felt, my take, could be wrong, a majority of the game that Russell Westbrook played, he was minus 25, which isn't good. But a majority of the game that he played, everything that didn't involve shooting, I liked what I saw. I liked the hustle. I liked the fitness. I liked the stuff he did without the basketball. I thought the effort plays were there. I like him as a penetrator. I think he's a little he wants to prove himself a shooter, and that proved himself to not be a shooter tonight, but shots will fall, I think.
Well, there's an old line a coach told me a long time ago. There's a reason you're wide open from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say this, you guys. The part again, the second half where I saw it, who else was shooting? So he's like, if you're not now, he did take a couple too early in the shot clock, but I mean, drive, dump, move, let's go, youngins, get to the damn hoop, get in the lane so he can pass it to you.
He had a defensive sequence on Shai Gilgeous that was fabulous, and he ends up taking a tough shot or kicks it out and they miss a shot, and then they get an offensive rebound. The things that Denver struggled with in the preseason was opponents making too many threes and too many crunch second shots, and all the stuff they did poorly in the preseason, in the 4 games that I did that they lost. They did tonight. There was no difference. There was no difference in preseason than tonight, except the starters played more minutes.
Well, it is what it is, my man. You know what?
Joker had 12 assists, and I had him down for 10 other passes were shot, kick out, shot, miss, 10 other ones. He could have had, if they were shooting at an unbelievable clip, he could have had 20-some assists tonight.
Let me ask you this. Does someone need to get physical with Chet? I mean, Chet's feeling himself, running down, throwing down dunks, and that's good. But, I mean, come on. That's still a thin dude compared to the thickness of Joker. Get after him. Put some bodies on him. Make him feel it a little bit.
Well, they did in the first half, and he was zero, did nothing. And then I think it was the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, all of a sudden he blew up with a couple 3-point plays, and he played well. He can block shots. He can do a lot of things, but the key with him is it's just like Porter. You got to put a body on him all the time, and you got to frustrate him because he's wearing you. You got to make a guy like that wear you all night long.
Scotty, we're going to let you go and get home to, the missus and just get out of the parking lot. I know you've had a long day. We'll all look forward to hearing you on Altitude Sports Radio tomorrow, and we'll do this again. I don't think I can do it Saturday because I got to get up to the Buff game, but we'll try to do this again. Monday when you play again?
Yeah, but I got a back-to-back, so we'll fly out. But let's do Tuesday night in New York for sure.
Tuesday it is. You can just walk us through Central Park there, Scotty.
Well, there you go.
All right. Get home safe, big fella.
We can eat a hot dog in somewhere out on the street.
Go get some pizza. Go get some.
Nothing better than street meat, man. I love street meat. It's fantastic.
I do too.
Especially in New York, man. Some dirty water dogs, baby.
Come on, go get you a little pizza. New York's where we ran into Steven Tyler during the Super Bowl. There, Coach. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
What you know about Steven Tyler, Coach? You know a little.
I know a lot, man. I know a lot.
Just want to be sure. All right, Scotty. Have a good night, bud.
All right, we'll see you.
See you, Scotty.
Right. Coach, I'm not going to hijack your night either. We'll call this off here pretty quick, but the Avs did play. I assume you watched a little of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Juice looks good again. The Avs got the scoring going. It feels like, hey, another reason not to freak out about the Nuggets is maybe they're going to follow a little bit of what the Avs did. The Avs, now again, it's not, they didn't get 4 wins against the Powers, but who cares? This time of the year, you're back to 500. You're out of your hole. You know what I'm saying? I still want to see Juice get a go against maybe a real top team, a Vegas, an Edmonton. I wish he would have got maybe a look against Boston, but I think you got to feel good. Look, that's the dude you had pegged to be your future. I like Georgie. I'm not saying let's be done with starting Georgie, but with them playing the way they are in front of Juice, I think you keep playing him until that stops.
There's a different level of just overall play in front of Juice. I don't know what, I can't make any sense of it. A lot of the complaints, even defenders of Georgie will point out to how bad everything is in front of Georgie. Well, it's the same unit that's been playing. They played the first 4 games and they're buzzing, man. They're playing hard hockey. There's a lot more shot deflection from the defense. And Juice is just in great positions, Andy. He looks really good. He's big. The physicality, the ability to occupy a majority of the net and be in good position. I love what I'm seeing. I particularly love what I'm seeing out of some of the third, fourth liners. You get another goal from Kiwi Ranta to make it 5. You get Ivan with his first NHL goal tonight. And then I love to see Casey Middlestad. I think he's been phenomenal all year. Hasn't had the points that maybe I think he's been deserving of. And he had a 3-point night tonight. It was just another positive development. And to your point about wanting to see Juice do it in front of with better competition, one of the top 10, 15 teams in the league. I think Seattle's probably right on the fringe of that 15 range. I like it from a Bedsy standpoint of building his confidence and building the confidence in the guys around Juice, because they're playing a certain type of way right now.
They are, which is why I think he should get the next start when they come back. I think it's Sunday they got the next game, right? I think that's one against Ottawa, where you could, you can get that family pack we were talking about today. However big your family. We used to do a family 4-pack. That screws you if you got 3 kids. Someone's staying home. Now they got a new Avs pack where however big the family, you can go Phillip Rivers. You got 12, we'll do 12.
Yeah,
we'll do 12.
Think about the Utah Hockey Club, man. They got to really think creatively. It's a little different than the Phoenix Coyotes and their family packs up in Utah. They got to be a little creative, man. Be careful.
You're one of those sister wife people showing up with about 15, 20.
Yeah. My family's it's complicated. I can't really put it. I can't. It doesn't really fit on a flow chart. Let's just say that.
It's complicated. That's all their Facebook statuses. Hey, real quick, I do have to publicly apologize to you.
Oh, okay.
Because now we'll see about the next year. But if the Broncos did want to add David Njoku,
what happened?
And I looked into it on Over the Cap, which is a place you ought to look because you're a big numbers guy. It'll break down all the stuff.
That website scares me, man. That website is you've been hanging out with Krecker too much if you understand that website.
No. If you go down to the bottom chart, you can see the bottom line is it cost them about $500,000 this year. And Njoku would be a good pickup this year. The problem is next year his base salary is $14 million, and that's a lot. Is he a $14 million tight end? And my question to you would be: is Bo going to make him look the way that Joe Flacco did? Because look, Njoku looked great last year with Flacco. Yep. He's not necessarily looked the same with Jameis Winston, but what on that offense has. Let's say you get on the hook for the $14 million. You okay with that? Is $14 million okay for him next year?
I'm not flying the Njoku flag.
Okay.
I'm really not. I think he's a talented player. I think he's a bit of an unknown because he hasn't had consistency throughout his career. He's not a first 3-year player, but he's highly talented. He can create some mismatches because of his size and speed ratio and athleticism. But I'm just not there to say that it's the best thing for Bo Nix. It's the best thing for the culture of this team that seems to be the strength of this team. You know, what's funny is we were talking a little bit and hearing Scotty break down that it feels like an extension for the Nuggets of the preseason. And I think the Avs, their first 4 games felt like an extension of the preseason. I think that the Broncos were an extension of their preseason. You know, they're playing good football. Like, it's not flashy, it's not perfect, but it's good football. And, you get into those second halves and of all three professional sports that we cover on a regular basis at Altitude Sports Radio, the second halves aren't telling this whole story, but it does tell you a little bit about your culture. And unless you're Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I do think the preseason does show at least something about what's to come.
We'll find out. Yes, they're playing winning football. We all like winning football, and you've won enough now. You might as well go for that playoff spot, right? I don't think you're losing enough to get back down in the top 5 of the draft. So then what does it matter? I'd rather see you break the playoff streak. My question ultimately becomes, will Sean Payton ultimately stick with run game and defense? He went a little away from his formula. If you really break it down, and I know you do, Coach, he was throwing a lot leading up to New Orleans. He knew Dennis Allen knew a little bit about the offense. I felt like he ran the ball maybe a little bit more, including with his quarterback. Kind of surprised him a bit. If he would stick with the formula from the Saints game and he let the DB and he'd not get too like, again, he didn't even get aggressive on that 4th down inside the 5 or whatever. He went ahead and kicked a field goal, took the points.
Smart.
It's all good coaching. If he'll stick with it, I think they can do something. But we saw he got a little itchy as they got back in that playoff race last year, Coach. I just don't know if he can bring himself to run the ball as much as a Mike Sanford Minnesota team would.
Yeah, you called that game. You know that all too well. Yeah, I think he will. And I think it was different a year ago because I don't believe at the end of the day he wanted Russell Wilson to be his quarterback in 2024. And while it was working, the 5-game winning streak last year that led to the same conversations we're having right now about postseason. Really? We're in the same spot, Andy, right?
Right.
Really, we are. We're talking about the same storyline. I think that Sean Payton wants Bo Nix to work. Sean Payton did not want Russell Wilson to work. And I felt that as somebody who is evaluating the play calling, the weekly stamp. And is it the right thing? I think it is the right thing because, Sean Payton was brought in here to do Sean Payton. And Sean Payton didn't want to do the asterisk Sean Payton with Russell Wilson running around and doing what he does. I personally probably would have let Russell Wilson run around because you won 5 in a row. 2 of those 5 were against Buffalo and Kansas City. So, I thought it was pretty damn impressive. But, you can shame me all you want. It's funny, man, is when the Broncos beat the Saints the way they did, and I don't care. You looked at the Saints injury report; it was absolutely ridiculous. And then they lose players going during the first half of that football game. I thought that the Broncos were just going to absolutely obliterate the Panthers. I still felt that way Monday, and then Tuesday happened, and the Andy Dalton news that came down. Dude, I've been burnt so many times as a college coach and I know pros in college aren't the same, but I've been burnt so many times with just the storyline type games. The guy that was benched, the franchise quarterback, the 1st-round pick, or the 5-star quarterback in college was benched. You brought in some other guy, gives you one good game, and then all of a sudden something happens where you got to bring that guy back, and he just plays well. And so the Bryce Young piece of it just gives me the heebie-jeebies, man. We're getting close to Halloween. I feel a certain type of way about this game. I'm not saying that the Panthers are going to come in and beat the Broncos, but the matchup, I feel better as a Broncos. If I were a Broncos fan looking at this game, I felt better about the Broncos facing Andy Dalton than Bryce Young.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to steal a thought from the texter. We all learned the Josh Reynolds news, which is crazy. Now, we're glad if you haven't heard, apparently he was shot following a night at Shotguns, and now he's okay. He's back with the Broncos. We're finding out that it's okay, but, is that the freaky thing that adds to a distraction? Just kind of a weird story to come out. I hope Josh is not – it sounds like Josh is physically okay. I hope Josh is mentally okay, okay? I've told people I was around for the Darren Williams thing. Javon Walker mentally to me was not the same person. And why should he be? He witnessed a guy's brain get spilled in his lap and he had the blood stain on his shirt to prove it. It was horrifying. I don't know that anything like this was quite this drastic, but the bottom line was he had to get out of the car and flee after the windows were shot out and bullets are flying by. And, that can be traumatic. So I hope Josh Reynolds is mentally okay. Just it's been a weird week, man. And I'm with you. They should win. I still think everything says it's a Denver victory and they're 5-3 and, on to the tougher half of the schedule, but you did what you needed to do. You handled the business you could handle, but the NFL is a weird league, and just go ask the Chargers losing the Cardinals last week. Who really saw that coming, right? Yeah. So, Coach, I'll tell you what, appreciate you jumping in. Scotty and I are always happy to have you jump in whenever we got any of these post-game things going on. We'll do it again, and everybody can listen to you. First off, they can listen to you at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And then you and I are going to be doing a little East versus Ralston Valley football game coming up at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So all the charts are ready to go. We're hoping to have a good call. Sports Guy Cole, who's been spamming the chat, which is fine. Get after it there, Sports Guy Cole. He'll be with us, I think, in the booth. So, no, I take it back. He's off.
We got
Dixon's with us. Cole gets to go do some rapids. He told me that today out at Stoney's. Good for Cole.
Up the effing PIDs, baby. Let's go.
So there we go.
Start their playoffs.
Playoffs. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the playoffs. So
yeah, didn't see that on your bingo card in preseason, did you there, Andy? You didn't think the PIDs would be playing playoff soccer.
Can't tell you that I had an opinion, Coach, if I'm just being honest with you.
I had a big opinion because I love a beautiful game, Andy.
I know you do. They get going, and I'm kind of in the middle of my mammoth thing. So that's what it was all about. All right, Coach, you have a good show tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll have a good call out at the NAC as we get you high school football at 7 o'clock, brought to you by Old Chicago. Everybody have a good night. Let's not freak out yet. Good night, all.
Good night.